Okay, we're back. Hi. I have my 8 rows knit. I hope you have yours too. So then we're going to go ahead and move on from here. Now, what we want to do is we want to either follow the chart or the written instructions until your piece measures about 21. I'm making the cowl, and if you're making the scarf, then follow this. But mine needs to measure 21 inches from the cast on, looks like. Okay, and we're not ready to do the buttonholes yet. That's at the end. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to do the chart. If you're more comfortable doing this, it will basically be the same thing that I'm doing with the chart, so you can kind of follow along. Go ahead and use your little sticky notes. If you have one of my magnetized boards from Knit Picks, go ahead and use that too. So you just start by knitting 2, and then we'll move down the line. But I'm going to go ahead and use the chart, and I'm actually going to leave it out here so that we can kind of see what we're doing. So I have it set down. Here's our legend. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, before we do that, go ahead and take a look at the side of your knitting and see how very pretty that looks, rather than the usual bumps and ridges and things that you get when you just start knitting right away. When you slip that first stitch, it makes it extremely pretty. Okay, so I'm going to do one section at a time, and in order to do that, I'm going to use this. And you can, if you're using the chart, you can use sticky notes or whatever, but I'm going to use this, and I can kind of keep myself straight one little piece at a time. Now, have your stitch markers ready so that we can place them when we get ready to do our repeats of lace. So the first thing it says that we're going to do is we're going to knit 2. Now, again, I'm going to slip that. My yarn's in the front of my needle. I'm going to slip that first stitch from my left-hand needle to my right-hand needle, pull it a little bit tight over the needle, and then I'm going to knit 1. Now, that counts as my knit 2 because this slipped one is the first knit 1, and then we knit 1. Now, we're going to do I don't know if that's back or forward, it's a slash. So we're going to do our slash, which means we're going to knit 2 together. So the only thing you have to do is make sure that you get your needle between 2 of these stitches as if you're going to knit them. You're not doing 1, you're going to do 2. So you just kind of gather both of those stitches on one needle, wrap it counterclockwise, pull it off. And there you've knit 2 together. So the next thing we want to do is we want to do a yarn over. Now this is a new stitch for a lot of you. And a yarn over just means your yarn is in the back because we're knitting. We're going to take it from the back, between the needles to the front, and take it to the back again. Now what we've done is that stitch that we knit together and we deleted one stitch, we've just made it, but it's going to make a hole. It's going to make lace. Not a hole, but lace in our work. So then the next stitch we're going to do after we've wrapped that yarn around our needle, and I just kind of like to hold it there, is we're going to knit 1. So when you open this up, you don't have a stitch where you've thrown your yarn over. You don't have a stitch under it. It's going to make a nice little hole. And you can see this one has a stitch under it, and these ones have stitches under it, but this one, the yarn just comes up and around and over. That's called a yarn over. Okay, so that is our beginning set. Now, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and place one of our stitch markers to tell us that that's the beginning edge. So now we're going to start with our lace pattern. And if you look at your lace pattern, it starts out with a slash. And this is a slip stitch knits slash. There's 2 of them. I guess this is backwards and that's forward. Anyway, we have a slash going from right to left, and that's the one that we want to go ahead and slip, slip, knit. So a slip, slip, knit can be done several ways, but they want us to do one particular way, and I'm going to show you how we do that. We're going to take our yarn as if we're going to knit that, but we don't knit it. We just take it and put it on our right-hand needle. Do the same thing with the next stitch. We've slip, slipped. Now, take your left-hand needle and put it back through where the yarn is, and just, you don't have to take it to the other side. You're just going to go ahead and knit that off then. So there you've made another decrease. And if you look at our pattern, these are decreases, but these circles where we put our lace is going to make keep our numbers the same. So after we've done that slip slip, we want to go ahead and do a knit stitch. So let's go ahead and do a knit stitch. And the next one is a circle, so we know we're going to take our yarn, it's in the back, we're going to take it between our needles to the front and back to the back again. We've just wrapped our needle. And then we're going to knit one. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to wrap it and knit one. And we've done all of these. So now we have another slash going from left to right. And that left to right is just knit two together. So we've done that already on earlier. So let's go ahead and knit those two together. And then knit one. Now that is one piece of lace knitting. Go ahead and take your stitch marker and place it there. This is going to delineate where your lace pattern starts and stops, and then the next one will stop. So we're going to go ahead and do a slip, slip, knit first, and the next section. And we know just as if we're going to knit it, we take our right-hand needle and take that stitch and put it on our right-hand needle. And then we just take our needle back through both of those. Now you can move those stitches over to your left hand, but it's wasted. It's because you're just going to come back and put this needle back here and knit those like that. So I don't even move those off. So we're going to, now we have to do this 5 times, so we're not moving this. We're still on row 1. So we're going to knit one. We're going to make a yarn over and knit another one. Make a yarn over and knit another one. And now we're at another slash, which means we're going to knit two together. It's a little easy to split your yarn when you're trying to get that done. And then we're going to knit another one. So that is our second set of lace pattern. Go ahead and put another stitch marker on there. And we're going to start again because we only have 2. 1, 2. So let's see if we can do it just a little bit faster. Our first stitch is a slip, slip. We're going to knit those two together. Very good. We're going to knit one, yarn over, knit the next one, yarn over, knit the next one, and now we have another slash. And this slash tells us that we're going to knit two together. So I find that if I keep the tip of my right hand needle kind of very close to my left hand needle, most of the time I won't split that as I try to get 2 of those on my needle. And then, yep, I did split it. So I'll start again. There we go. And then we're going to knit our last one for this set. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and get another stitch marker. Place that on your needle. Let's do it again. I'm making the cowl, so I am doing 5 times this. If you're making the scarf, you'll only do 4 of these, so keep that in mind. So I'm going to slip, slip, knit. There I take my right hand needle, slip that stitch back over, slip it over. I go between these stitches and I knit that together. The next one is just a knit stitch, a yarn over and knit stitch, a yarn over and knit stitch, and then we're going to knit 2 together. And let's knit that last stitch in our section, because we're just working between these 2 solid lines. Again, you need a stitch marker. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead and do that. For our 5th time, we're going to slip, slip, take our needle back through those 2, and knit those 2 together. Then we're going to knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, knit 2 together, knit 1, and we have our 5. So I'm going to put another stitch marker right there. So that tells me I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 iterations of my lace pattern. Now, since we're done with that, I'm going to go ahead and move this, because now we all have to do is do this. And the first thing that you want to do is we're going to do a yarn over. I am going to caution you, when you have a stitch marker and immediately do a yarn over, there are times that your stitch marker will slide over that and it can be confusing. We're going to work slow enough through this pattern together that you should be okay. We will work together through this. So I'm going to make my yarn over right after my stitch marker, and then we're immediately going to do a slip, slip. So let's do our slip, slip. And I'm trying to keep my yarn on the left hand side. If you have to readjust it so that you know where your stitch marker is, that's okay too. Okay, and then we're just going to knit 2. 1, 2. Okay, we have completed row 1. So I'm going to go ahead and move my magnet to cover row 1, because now I'm on row 3. And I am actually going to tell myself I've only knit row 1, so I need to knit row 2. Now, we know row 2 and all following even rows are the same. So we're going to do it, knit 3, purl to the last 3, and knit 3. So let's go ahead and do our even row. Now all of these wrong side rows are considered even rows. And I'm going to flip all of my stitch markers to the back side of my knitting so they kind of stay out of my way. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And again, I'm going to take my yarn and keep it in front of my needle, because I just want to slip this first stitch. So I'm going to slip it, take my working yarn between my 2 needles from front to back, and just give it a little tug, not tight. And so we're going to go ahead and knit 3, so that counts as 1, or slipped stitch. We're going to 2, 3, and then we're going to bring our yarn to the front, because we're going to purl the rest of these. Move your stitch markers as you come to them. Now, I might tell you, you might want to go ahead and purl the old way. which means put your needle through your, especially when you come to the yarn overs. So you put your needle from right to left. Take your yarn also in a counterclockwise motion and pull it off. It just makes it a little bit easier. And if you're comfortable with how stitches lie, then go ahead and purl everything in just one direction. Now I split a stitch there. Don't like that. Keep moving your stitch markers as you purl. And you can see I'm purling up mine all the same way. I am doing the clockwise motion with all of my purls, even the ones over my yarn overs. I don't have a problem knowing which way my my legs are on my stitches, but we will go over that with our next row. And I'm almost done with my first reverse side row, which is a second row. Okay, so I'm sorry, you want to come to the last 3 stitches and you want to knit those stitches. So go ahead and take your yarn to the back and then knit those 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. You're welcome to put another stitch marker there to remind you, but it's not necessary. 3 is an easy number to remember. Okay, so I'm using my stitch counter, so I'm going to push the 2, meaning I'm finished row 2. If you're using hash marks, just hash 1, 2. You've done 2 rows. So now we're ready to do row 3. And row 3 is exactly like row 1 when you look at it. Our slip, slip, knit stitches are the same. Actually, the first 3 pattern rows are the same, which makes it very easy to do this stitch. This is a very nice stitch to use. It looks exactly the same, but I do move this so that I know excuse me, which row I'm on. So, okay, I'm going to move all of these back. We are going to do row 3, and then I'm going to let you do row 4 by yourself. And then I will come back with another video to show you how to do the rest of these. You're welcome to finish row 5 because it's just the same as what we've been doing. Okay, I'm going to slip the first one. And I'm on the right side, so I'm following the pattern exact. And I'm going to knit 1 more. And then I have a knit 2 together. Now this is where it gets dicey. If you've knit like I do, your stitch, this stitch is perfect because the first leg comes from the right over and then goes to the left. But your purled one here is not. You can see it's behind and then comes over. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn this stitch around that way, put this one back on, and then I'm going to be able to knit these 2 together so that they look proper. And we'll do this again through this pattern. Now I'm going to do a yarn over, and I'm going to knit one. Now again, you can see this is our purl that comes behind, so we want to knit behind. I'm going to move my stitch marker. So the next one we want to do, and we are going to be in our pattern, is we are going to slip, and we slip from behind because we've purled. So we're going to slip from behind, slip, and they're okay. So then we want to go ahead and take our left-hand needle and knit those two together. And you can kind of see it's going, it makes it look like the stitches are going up. Okay, so we've done that. We want to knit one. I'm knitting in the back stitch. We want to go ahead and wrap, knit one, wrap our next one, knit one, and then this one we want to go ahead and knit two together. So you do have to move these stitches to make them right. I am going to come from behind that stitch and put it like this. I'm going to come behind this stitch and put it like that, and then put them both back on the left-hand needle, and then I'm going to knit those two together. Okay, and then I'm going to knit this stitch. So I am going to teach you the other way to purl, because with lace it actually goes faster if you purl the backwards way. So let's go ahead and finish this row, and then I'm going to show you on the next row how we purl. So we're going to do a slip slip knit, which is slip slip knit. Oops, I got my, there we go. Okay, we're going to knit one through the back on this row, yarn over, knit through the back stitch, yarn over, knit through the back stitch, and then we're going to have to turn this one, remember. So I'm going to go behind it, slip it, behind it, slip it, put it back, and then knit those two together. And then we can knit that last stitch through the back. Slip your, there we go. And we are going to do a slip slip knit. And basically what you can do is you can try to knit through the back of all those stitches rather than move them. You're welcome to move them. And then go ahead and put your needle through. My yarn's caught on my, okay, and then we're going to knit one through the back, yarn over, knit one through the back, yarn over, knit one through the back, and then these ones we have to move. And then knit the last one. Now this really is a pretty stitch, and it's a little bit more work if you do the purls like I do, but again I'm going to show you a very, if you don't like the purls that I do, then I'm going to show you an easier way to do this. Front. So we want to go ahead and slip slip, which means I have to turn these around and then knit through them. Okay, I'm going to knit through the back, yarn over, knit through the back, yarn over, knit through the back. Okay, and this one we need to knit 2 together. Now, if these were sitting directly on your needle, I've turned them, you would just come in here and knit 2 together. And you can do that. So then we're just going to knit that last stitch, move our stitch marker. Okay, we're going to slip through the back, slip through the back, and then we're going to knit those 2 together. Okay, we're going to knit through the back, yarn over, knit through the back, yarn over, and knit through the back. Okay, now this is going to be our knit 2 together, and you don't have to twist them if you don't want to. If it's easier for you, go ahead and grab it through the back, move it, grab it through the back, move it. And then put them back. This is the one where you have to put them back on your left-hand needle and then knit through them. Okay, and then that. So we are at our last segment, which is a yarn over, a slip, slip knit, slip, slip, knit, knit together, and then knit the last 2. So this next row, if it's easier for you, I want you to purl the way I'm going to show you. Okay? So we know that we have to knit the first 3 stitches. So let's go ahead and slip the first one, yarn in front, slip the first one, move the yarn to the back, and then just go ahead and knit 2. That will be your first 3. Now, the difference with this purl, go ahead and bring your yarn to the front. When you put your needle from the right to the left, instead of doing the clockwise turn we have been doing, go ahead and do the counterclockwise. This will make the next row of lace very easy to do. So I'm going to purl them all that way. And you can see, it's basically the same, it's just how you're moving your yarn. And this will make your lace knitting on the other side much easier, much faster when you're doing that side, because you don't have to twist stitches back to their original side. And by our next row, we should be able to kind of see how our pattern is working out. And again, we're doing clockwise movements. And okay, this is where you saw my stitch marker got caught in the stitch, and that does happen. Let's go ahead and finish this, and then we're going to take a look at our fabric and see how it looks. Now remember, your last 3 stitches are knit. So be aware of that as we get close to the end. Oh, I don't want to knit. So I want to put that back there. That's my third stitch. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's take a look at our fabric. Oh, look how pretty that's getting. You're starting to see definition in your lace, and your stitches are going up just nicely. So that place where I had my stitch marker stuck, I wasn't sure if I had it right, so I'm going to count my stitches. I have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so one of these is off. 2, 4, 6, 8, and I kind of think it's right here. So I'm going to unhook this, and I'm going to move it over. So let's count these. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah. You will find sometimes when you do yarn overs that your stitch markers get hidden under. So if you find that when you're knitting, just remember to go back and you can actually put a different color on before you. For example, when I'm on this side and I realized that that stitch marker was caught, I might have come back here, especially if I'm doing hundreds of stitches. I might have come back here and put one of these on here to remind myself that when I go over here, make sure and count to make sure there are 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 stitches to it. So I would come back here and I would go 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, I'm fine. And then I would take it off. It's not tedious. It's just, you have to be detail oriented, especially to knit, not only knit, but especially when you're doing lace or cables, it's very detail oriented. Okay, so we finished rows 3 and 4. I'm going to stop here. Next time we're going to go on to row 5, and it's going to be the same as the 2 that we've done before. And remember, you can go ahead and do this one by yourself if you want to. Next video I will come back and do it with you. But as you do the wrong side row and you're purling, if it's easier for you to purl by putting your needle in your stitch and then wrapping counterclockwise, it will make our next row easier. We won't have to twist stitches around to get them to lay right. So it might be easier. If you want to wait for me, I'm perfectly happy to walk you through rows 5, 6, 7, and 8 next time. Okay, thanks for stopping. I hope you've had a good time learning a little bit about knitting lace. There are various ways to knit lace depending on how comfortable you are with knowing how your stitches lay. If you're not comfortable, purling with the counterclockwise motion is the best way to do it. Okay, I'll see you next time. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.